Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and today we're going to get into some more Premier Cup Go Battle League practice battles. Okay, so the thought behind this video, please don't crucify me in the comment section yet. The thought behind this video was every league has a specific meta. There are certain meta mons that we might give a different name to, but I'm not going to use that here. It's not appropriate for YouTube videos and the content I put out. But there's a certain meta for every Go Battle League essentially, whether it be Great League, Ultra League, or Master League. And Premier Cup, even though we haven't done any battles in it, looks like it's going to have a similar meta around it. Now I'm hoping it won't be as heavy. I'm hoping it'll be more similar to Great League, where the meta is typically Azumarill, Registeel, and whatever third Pokemon you want to use. Whereas you can still get away and have success in Great League with other Pokemon outside of those 2 plus possible 3. Whereas in Master League, if you don't have Melmetal, Dialga, or Giratina altered, you're going to struggle to have success. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's definitely harder to have success in Master League without those 3 Pokemon, whereas in Great League, you can still have success even if you're not using Registeel or Azumarill. So I'm hoping Premier Cup will be similar to that, but this video is going to be focused around what I expect to be the Premier Cup main 3 Pokemon, the meta 3 Pokemon, and I'm going to show you a few battles and show you how they turn out, show you the strengths and weaknesses of this team of 3, and hopefully discuss some potential picks to counter the team of 3, because we all get sick of the meta. So, getting into this first match, keep in mind these are against friends of mine in the local Discord because Go Battle League is unfortunately still down now. In this first match, we got Togekiss on Togekiss lead. We're obviously going to be applying Charm on Charm damage here, and whoever kind of throws the Ancient Power first or has CMP could win it, but I wasn't going to take that chance. I decided, you know what, once we get to the Ancient Power, I'm going to swap and catch the Ancient Power on my Metagross because it would be resisted and my Metagross will hard wall his Togekiss. And if he does have a swap in for my Metagross, at least I'll get some sort of little energy advantage to deal with it. Unfortunately, the swap in ends up being Rhyperior, and that does kind of wall me pretty hard. Also, what you'll notice is my Metagross' CP is at 3791, and you might notice on his little head there, he's got a Best Buddy button. I forgot to put him as my buddy for these first couple matches. So that was a mistake on my part, and you'll notice real soon that it's going to cost me, because you see how that Mudslap took me down? I was like 1 bullet punch away from a Meteor Mash. If I had that Best Buddy boost, I would have had a little bit more HP. I might have been able to survive another Mudslap. I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on it, but probably could have helped me there. I was super close to another Meteor Mash, which would have at least gotten the shield, or if he didn't shield, would have definitely taken out his Rhyperior. Either way, I bring in my Togekiss. I was really hoping he'd shield that, thinking it was a Flamethrower, and he did not shield it, so he's going for his charge move. I'm going to have to shield this because it's going to take out my Togekiss, and I know he has a bunch of energy, so he would get to another one like he's doing now, and then just throw it at my Dragonite. So I had no choice. Since I committed the first shield, I'm pretty confident I commit the second shield here, because I'm like, you know, if I'm going to commit to keeping Togekiss alive, I might as well, or I should have not shielded the first one. Either way, he brings in a Togekiss of his own, the one that he led with, and if I can't get this Ancient Power off and take out his Togekiss, this is essentially going to be GG for me. But he has a shield, so this Ancient Power is going to go shielded, and I swap immediately just because of the fact that I don't want to give his Togekiss any extra energy. I'm really hoping I can Dragon Breath down. I was not able to Dragon Breath down, which was a concern, well, an issue also. He's going to get to an Ancient Power, which will be super effective, but that Ancient Power nerf comes in clutch because I'm still able to survive, and his last Pokemon is a Machamp. And honestly, if I had to pick any last Pokemon for him to have, it would be Machamp, because this Hurricane would not have one-shot like anything else other than a fighter. So I was able to one-shot his Machamp, and my Dragonite and his Togekiss take each other out, and my Togekiss is still in the back, and I'm able to take this first. So now, getting into the second match, let's talk about how I put together this team and why I picked the 3 Pokemon I picked. I ended up picking Togekiss, Dragonite, and Metagross, and the main reasoning behind this is they're pretty strong Pokemon in the Master League meta alone, and without the main legendaries that counter each of them, they're going to have a pretty solid field day against the majority of the Premier Cup meta. And on top of that, if you go on PvPoke, super helpful resource when it comes to looking up PvP information, and you go to their rankings for Premier Cup, at like the top 5 Pokemon, they're literally like the top 3 if you exclude Shadow Pokemon. So it goes like Togekiss, then Metagross, and Dragonite in some sort of order. Either way, they're all up there. So I'm like, okay, PvPoke is usually pretty spot on. If you look at their Great League list, Azumarill and Registeel are right up there. If you look at their Ultra League list, Cresselia and What else? It's been such a long time since we've done Ultra League battles. I don't remember what's at the top of the Ultra League list. Oh, Cresselia, Registeel, Swampert, Giratina, Altered. They're all up there. So when I saw that for Premier Cup, I'm like, okay, this is almost definitely going to be the main meta we're going to be up against. So let me put together a team of 3. Let's play it out. Let's see what certain battles are going to look like with the 3 of them. And I decided to lead with Togekiss and keep Dragonite and Metagross in the back, because Metagross in like a no-shield situation with Meteor Mash and Earthquake can deal very high damage. And Togekiss as a lead can essentially beat a lot of the meta as long as it's not a Steel type, or like an Ice type that deals super effective damage. But then again, the Ice doesn't resist the charms, so Togekiss will still deal a lot of damage to those Ice types, even though it will I'm pretty sure it will still lose depending on whatever the Ice type is. Let's not get too specific right now. But so that was the main logic there, and Charm is just such a threatening move. Even though it doesn't take shields, it takes health, and it will win a majority of lead matchups, so that was the logic there. And then something like Dragonite felt like a safe switch, because if I lose lead with Togekiss and I go into a Steel type, I can bring in Dragon Breath. I can bring in Dragonite and use Dragon Breath, and even though it's resisted, it's such a strong move. So if my opponent decides to stay in with their Steel type, I'm fine with that, because I could kind of commit to possibly getting Switch Advantage back and keep my Togekiss alive in the back. So that's just some of the logic. It might not be spot on, guys. Like I said, like I always say, I'm just here to give you my thoughts. They might not be perfect. Feel free to disagree in the comment section, but either way, that's my logic in putting together this team. And as you'll notice, I did no commentary there, so I apologize, but I was able to take that second match. Okay, now that we've talked about how and why I put this team together the way that I did, let's talk about its weaknesses. This lead matchup, not one of this team's weaknesses. Togekiss on Breloom, I'm winning that matchup. Breloom's a fighter and it's classy, it's losing to Togekiss hard. But then he swaps in a Garchomp, and I swapped out Togekiss and brought in my one Pokemon weak to Garchomp. Excuse that, please. I don't know. Well, I don't know. It was like a gut reaction type thing, and I made the. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Learn from my mistake. Don't ever do that. If you have a Dragonite, you can swap that in, or I should just kept in my Togekiss because it would have walled this Garchomp too. But anyhow, let's talk about this team's main weakness, and that is itself. I know, it sounds super weird, but when your team consists of Togekiss, Dragonite, and Metagross, 2/3, Togekiss and Dragonite, are both weak to opposing Metagrosses. So that leaves this meta team in a weird situation, because Togekiss is going to get absolutely walled by other Metagrosses unless you can land a Flamethrower, and even that I'm pretty confident doesn't one-shot a Metagross. And earlier, like maybe a couple minutes ago in this video, I was saying how if you swap in a Dragonite on a Metagross, you might be able to win out that situation, but Dragonite's really only beating Metagross when there's like shields up. So if your Dragonite falls on a Metagross in a no-shield situation, or even like a one-shield situation, it's not going to go too well for your Dragonite, unfortunately. So that leaves my one counter for opposing Metagrosses being my own Metagross. And what you'll notice if you go on PvPoke, the recommended moveset for Metagross in this meta is Meteor Mash and Psychic. And I'm not disagreeing with that at all, but I do think that Earthquake has equal play to Psychic. Meteor Mash, you definitely 100% need in your Metagross, or it's going to be way downgraded. But between Earthquake and Psychic, I think it's a flip of the coin, and I think it depends on your team of 3 and what it's weak to. Again, like I mentioned, this team is weak to other Metagrosses, so I definitely need Earthquake, and that's also why I kept my Metagross in the back. I wanted it to essentially end up in no-shield situations against other potential Metagrosses, so they could land an Earthquake and one-shot them. So that's the logic there in why my Metagross is running Earthquake, and that's also why this team is so weak to other Metagrosses, because if my I'm saying Metagross so many times in this clip, I apologize. Let's keep it counter. No, I'm kidding. But if I bring in my Metagross against another Metagross and there's still shields, then it becomes a bait game, and that is just not a safe or fun game you want to play, because then you got to make sure the Meteor Mash gets shielded, and you got to land the Earthquake, and that just does not feel like a recipe for success for any Go Battle League team, no matter what the league is. Other than that, I don't see any big gaping holes. I was able to pull off that match without, despite the silly mistake I made. But off the bat, Metagross, big weakness for this team. Okay, now that I think about it a little bit more, this team has one other weakness as big as its Metagross weakness, and that's opposing Magnezones. Like I mentioned in my video from a couple days ago, Magnezone is shaping up to be the Premier Cup meta breaker. And what that definition means is that the Premier Cup even though we haven't done any battles yet, is setting to look like it's going to have a meta that consists of Togekiss, Dragonite, and Metagross, which is why I put together this team. Magnezone has a positive matchup against all 3 of those Pokemon, and this is why I also vouch for Earthquake on your Metagross, because if you have Earthquake on your Metagross, you have a better chance at beating opposing Magnezones, especially if you're going to run this team of 3. The way you would play out that matchup would be similar to how you play out the matchup of Metagross on Metagross, like I mentioned a little while ago, so I'm not going to re-explain it, just know that's how you would beat Magnezones with your Metagross. Now, even though Dragonite has a Dragon typing and takes neutral damage from Magnezone's electric quick moves and charge moves, Wild Charge still hurts a lot, and that neutral damage adds up on Dragonites. And Dragonite's Dragon Breath is resisted because of Magnezone's Steel typing. Similarly, Togekiss's Charms are resisted by Magnezone's Steel typings, and its electric damage is dealing super effective damage to Togekiss's. On top of the fact that if you're running Mirror Shot, which is a good bait move on Magnezone, even though I showcased it with Flash Cannon, I still think there's a bit of a debate there, but having a bait move is extremely important in a lot of situations, so maybe running Mirror Shot and spamming it on opposing Togekisses would be the way to go if you're the one running the Magnezone. So I will throw that out there. Also, you might just notice that I swapped in a Dragonite on his opposing Metagross, and I left that situation down a shield and still lost, so it kind of counters a point I made earlier. You really don't want to run into a situation where your Dragonite's falling on a Metagross, but it does just it increases the stress of how much of a weakness this team has against other Metagrosses and other Magnezones, so that gives me hope that the Premier Cup meta will not be super condensed to these 3, even though technically one of the weaknesses is one of those 3 Pokemon, but gives Magnezone play, and then when you have Steel types like that, then it gives maybe a Charizard play, which, I mean, again, we've kind of gone over before, it's a little glassy for Premier Cup, but still has play. Fire on Steel. Fire's gonna win. Alright, I'm getting on a whole tangent there. My point is, I'm hoping that with Magnezone being such a core breaker, it'll allow other Pokemon to kind of step into the meta too. So that's my hope. As we finish off this match, he's going to charm down my Togekiss. I'm going to bring in my Metagross here. And I made a mistake before not baiting an Earthquake on his Magnezone, and he ended up shielding it. But even if I baited, I wouldn't have gotten to enough energy to land the damage I need to land and win out this match either way. So he played it really well, and he had 2 of my team's biggest weaknesses, so I'm actually really happy this match worked out the way it did, because it really highlights, now I'm saying really a lot, it highlights from the beginning the strengths of the team to here the specific match a very big weakness. Okay, getting into this 5th match, I actually have a pretty funny one for you, and doing all these practice battles really just gets me excited for when Go Battle League comes back. I heard within the code, and if you check on the game, Go Battle League got reset to Great League. I'll take that. Honestly, I just want some competitive PvP. There's always Sylph, but like, it's hard to do Sylph daily. So I'm really looking forward to Go Battle League coming back. Now let's talk about why this match ends up being so funny. So I had a Togekiss on a Metagross lead. You might notice he's got a Metagross. I swapped in my Dragonite to deal with it. You might have noticed he swapped in a Togekiss. Something about these Pokemon is starting to match up a little bit. His Togekiss absolutely walls my Dragonite, so I had no choice but to come back in with my own Metagross, which honestly really isn't the smart play, because I had a Togekiss on Metagross lead and I don't want to keep that lined up. So I should have really brought my own Togekiss so I could avoid the Metagross, but what I'm going to do here is I have a shield advantage, so he threw a Flamethrower, I'm going to shield that, and I'm just going to commit completely to the farm down. So that was my logic and why I brought in Metagross. I knew even if I had to use both shields, which I'm going to have to use, I thought I had to use a second shield. I guess not. Either way, even if I had to use both shields, I wanted to make sure my Metagross had a bunch of energy for whatever he had to send in. So what he ends up doing is the Metagross he led with, he brings back, he has 1 shield, and I correct the mistake I made in the last match, and I go for the bait, and I throw this Meteor Mash, and I get the shield. So that's awesome. I have a shield, so even if he baits me and gets my shield, I can still get off this Earthquake either way. He doesn't even get off his charge move, so this is working out beautifully. I'm going to land this Earthquake, and this is essentially how I would hope to play out all Metagross situations like I mentioned earlier. His last Pokemon, Dragonite. We ran the same meta team. What are the odds? And I lost lead, so that was honestly pretty crazy, but I guess it really goes to show, because I guess I utilized my Metagross a little bit better. It goes to show how much of a weakness his team of 3 or our team of 3 has 2 Metagrosses, because mine ended up getting so much energy, and that allowed me to flip this match. My Togekiss charms down as Dragonite, and we call that GG. Overall, I want you guys to let me know a few things. Let me know what you thought of this team of 3. Let me know if you think these main 3 Pokemon will be the Premier Cup meta-type Pokemon. And if you disagree, let me know what Pokemon you think the meta will essentially revolve around. Because I know, again, like I said, Magnezon's a core breaker, and even Garchomp is definitely going to have some Premier Cup play. So who knows, they might have more play than I'm expecting. Or it might just fall on these 3 Pokemon. Don't forget, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.